Welcome to US Coins World. What if I told you that some of the rarest and most valuable US coins might be hiding right under your nose? Today, we're uncovering incredible treasures, coins so rare, they could make you a fortune overnight. Ready to discover hidden history and cash in on some amazing finds? Let's dive in. Top 1 today, we're shining a spotlight on a modern masterpiece, the United States 2021 Washington Quarter, the one featuring the iconic, Crossing the Delaware, design. This quarter isn't just your average coin, it's a brilliant blend of American history, artistic craftsmanship, and a touch of minting magic that makes it incredibly valuable and highly sought after. So, listen very carefully, because this video will reveal why the 2021 Washington Quarter, Crossing the Delaware, edition is a must-have for any serious collector, and why its worth might just surprise you. Let's start by setting the stage. The Washington Quarter is one of the most recognizable coins in the United States, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. Over the years, it has featured many different designs on its reverse, but the 2021 edition stands apart because it pays tribute to a pivotal moment in American history, George Washington's daring and historic crossing of the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. This event is not only symbolic of courage and leadership but also of a turning point that helped shape the nation. The coin's reverse beautifully captures this moment with intricate detail, showing Washington and his troops braving the icy waters, which is a dramatic and compelling scene that adds a unique layer of historical significance to this modern quarter. But here's the exciting part, beyond its powerful design and historical importance, the 2021 Washington Quarter, Crossing the Delaware, has some very rare and intriguing qualities that can make it extremely valuable. Yes, you heard that right. Despite being a relatively new release, this coin has already made waves in the collector's market due to its rarity, limited mintage, and, most notably, the rare mint errors that have been spotted. One of the most compelling factors that enhance the coin's value is its limited availability in certain mint states and finishes. While millions of these quarters were struck for circulation, a far smaller number were produced in high-grade mint conditions or special uncirculated editions. These coins are often saved directly from the mint by collectors or enthusiasts who recognize their significance, meaning that the supply of flawless, pristine examples is very low. When demand from collectors meets limited supply, the price naturally climbs, making mint state versions highly sought after. Now, let's talk about mint errors, because this is where things get really interesting. Some of the 2021, Crossing the Delaware, quarters have exhibited fascinating minting anomalies, errors that happen during the manufacturing process that are rare and increase the coin's desirability tremendously. One of the most eye-catching errors is the double die effect. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice in slightly different positions, causing a doubling of certain elements on the coin. On this quarter, collectors have reported doubled images on the date, the lettering around the edge, or even parts of Washington's figure. This doubling effect gives the coin a unique, almost three-dimensional look, making it a standout piece that's very attractive to error collectors. Another notable error is the off-center strike. Imagine holding a quarter where the design is shifted so far that part of the image is missing and the rim is unusually thick on one side. These off-center strikes are fascinating because each one is unique, the degree of misalignment varies, making every off-center coin one of a kind. The more dramatic the offset, the more valuable the coin can be. For the Crossing the Delaware Quarter, off-center strikes create a striking visual effect that immediately grabs attention and increases collector demand. Die cracks are yet another fascinating feature found on some of these quarters. These cracks happen when the die used to strike the coin develops fractures, which then appear as raised lines or irregular patterns on the coin's surface. While some might see these as imperfections, collectors view them as marks of uniqueness, almost like nature's signature on a man-made object. Certain 2021 quarters with prominent die cracks have drawn considerable interest and higher bids at auctions. Let's not forget the importance of condition in coin collecting. The condition, or grade, of a coin can significantly affect its value. A 2021 Washington Quarter, Crossing the Delaware, that's been circulated will be worth a lot less than one preserved in perfect mint condition, free from scratches, wear, or discoloration. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins graded MS 70 or Proof 70, which are essentially flawless examples. If your quarter falls into this category and also features one of the rare errors or mint varieties, you're looking at a very valuable collectible. So, why does all this matter? Why should collectors be excited about the 2021 Washington quarter, crossing the Delaware? Because it represents a perfect storm of historical significance, artistic beauty, rarity, and the excitement of unique mint errors. Owning one of these coins means holding a piece of American history, combined with the thrill of possessing a rare minting anomaly that's sure to appreciate in value. Now, for the big reveal, the value of these extraordinary quarters. While most circulation strikes are worth their face value or slightly more, those rare mint state quarters with notable errors have seen their market price skyrocket. Recently, some of the finest and rarest 2021 Washington quarter, crossing the Delaware, coins have been valued at an incredible amount, $85,000 US. Yes, you heard that correctly, $85,000 for a single 2021 Washington quarter. It's a stunning example of how modern coins, when rare and accompanied by fascinating mint errors, can become immensely valuable collectibles. That if you own this quarter, or if you come across one in your collection or even your change, don't overlook it. Take the time to inspect it carefully. Look for doubling effects, check for off-center strikes, and keep an eye out for unusual raised lines or cracks. If you spot anything unusual, consider having it professionally graded and authenticated to unlock its true value. Top 2. We're turning back the clock to celebrate a truly iconic and historic piece, the United States 1976 Washington quarter, famously known as the Bicentennial Quarter, commemorating 200 years since the birth of the nation in 1776. But this quarter isn't just any coin, it holds a special place in American numismatics and can be worth far more than its face value, especially when you consider its rarity, condition, and the minting errors that can make it an absolute treasure. So, pay close attention, because this video will reveal why the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter is a must-have for any serious collector and how some of these coins can be worth an astonishing amount. Let's start with the background. In 1976, the United States Mint issued special quarters to celebrate the country's bicentennial. These quarters were distinct because instead of the usual eagle on the reverse, they featured an elaborate design showcasing a colonial drummer boy and a victory torch encircled by 13 stars, symbolizing the original colonies. The obverse kept the classic George Washington profile but with the special dual date, 1776 to 1976. This coin quickly became a symbol of American pride and history, minted in massive quantities for circulation, special sets, and collectors. Despite the large mintage, there are rare variations and minting anomalies that make certain versions of this quarter highly valuable today. So, what makes the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter so special? The secret lies in the details, the rare minting errors and exceptional conditions that collectors seek out fervently. One of the most fascinating mint errors on these quarters is the double die error. This happens when the coin's design is struck twice, slightly offset, causing the date, lettering, or even parts of the design to appear doubled. Imagine seeing two slightly misaligned 1776 to 1976 dates or a doubled image of the drummer boy. This doubling effect is not only visually striking but incredibly rare, turning what might seem like a flaw into a unique collector's gem. Double die errors are prized because they represent a mishap at the mint that's both accidental and beautiful, and the 1976 quarter has some of the most notable examples. Another error that adds value is the off-center strike. Here, the coin's design is misaligned to such a degree that part of the image is missing, and the blank edge of the coin becomes visible. These errors vary in severity, and the more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Off-center quarters from 1976, especially those with striking images of the drummer boy cut off or partially missing, are highly collectible and sought after. Die cracks and die breaks also contribute to the value of these quarters. These are small raised lines or irregularities caused by cracks in the coin die used during production. While these may seem like imperfections, collectors cherish them because they make each coin one of a kind. Some 1776 to 1976 quarters show die cracks around the edges or across the design, giving the coin a unique texture and character. Now, let's talk about condition, which is paramount in coin collecting. While millions of bicentennial quarters were minted, most circulated heavily and show wear and tear. Finding a 1976 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one with rare errors, is becoming increasingly difficult. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services command premium prices. The combination of excellent condition and rare errors transforms these quarters into valuable collector's items. Collectors are particularly drawn to proof and special mint sets from 1976. Proof coins, with their mirror-like finish and sharp details, are highly prized, especially if they carry mint errors or unique features. Proof sets were limited in quantity compared to circulation coins, making them rarer and more valuable to those seeking high-quality examples of this historic coin. So, why should collectors and coin enthusiasts be excited about the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter? Because it's a coin that beautifully blends history, artistry, and rarity. It's a tangible piece of American heritage, commemorating the nation's founding and the spirit of independence. Beyond its face value, this quarter offers a thrilling hunt for rare errors and pristine conditions that can yield amazing rewards for the lucky collectors who find them. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the value of these exceptional 1776 to 1976 Washington quarters. While most circulated coins trade at face value or slightly above, those rare mint state quarters with double die errors, off-center strikes, or die cracks have soared in demand and price. Recently, some of the finest, rarest examples have been appraised at an incredible figure, $83,000 US. That's right, $83,000 for a single 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter. This remarkable valuation highlights how a coin issued for everyday use can transform into a valuable collector's treasure, especially when rarity, error, and condition come together in perfect harmony. If you have one of these coins in your collection or stumble upon one, take a closer look. Examine the date carefully, look for doubling, check the centering of the design, and inspect for any raised lines or cracks. If you spot something unusual, consider having the coin professionally graded and authenticated to unlock its full value. Top 3. We're diving into a fascinating piece from the United States, the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. Now, this might sound like just another quarter at first, but if you're a true coin lover, you're going to want to listen very carefully. This seemingly ordinary coin hides some extraordinary secrets, rare errors, and in pristine condition, it could be worth way more than you'd imagine. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll learn why the 1973 Washington quarter is a collector's gem and how much it could be worth today. Let's begin by setting the scene. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, with the familiar profile of George Washington gracing the obverse. The 1973 quarter belongs to the series minted before the major design changes that would come later. Millions of these coins were produced, used every day, and passed through countless hands. But just like any widely circulated coin, their value mostly depends on condition, rarity, and, most importantly, errors or unique characteristics that set some examples apart. One of the main reasons the 1973 Washington quarter can command a higher value is because of rare mint errors that occurred during production. Mint errors are a coin collector's dream because they're essentially mistakes that were never supposed to happen, making each error coin unique and often extremely valuable. One of the most notable errors to look for on the 1973 Washington quarter is the famous double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck twice, but the two images are slightly misaligned, causing a doubling effect on certain parts of the design. For this quarter, collectors have spotted doubling on the date, the Liberty inscription, and sometimes even the word, "In God We Trust." Imagine holding a coin where these letters and numbers appear doubled or shadowed. It's like a little optical illusion that instantly sets the coin apart. These double die errors are not only visually striking but are quite rare, which makes them highly desirable among collectors. Another key error that can greatly increase the value of a 1973 Washington quarter is the off-center strike. This error happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned in the press, resulting in a design that's shifted to one side, leaving part of the coin's rim without the design and showing a blank area. The severity of the off-center strike varies. Some coins are just slightly off, while others are so dramatically misaligned that large portions of the design are missing. The more extreme the misalignment, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Imagine a quarter where George Washington's face is cut off or the date is partially missing. These coins are one of a kind and highly collectible. Then, there are die cracks and die breaks, which happen when the metal die used to strike the coin develops tiny cracks. These cracks then show up as raised lines on the coin's surface. While they might seem like defects, collectors see them as unique fingerprints that add character and rarity to a coin. The 1973 quarter occasionally shows these interesting features, and coins with prominent die cracks can be worth significantly more than their flawless counterparts. Now, let's talk about the coin's condition, which is a crucial factor in its value. Most 1973 quarters you find in your pocket or at the store will be circulated and worn, which lowers their value to just a bit over face value. However, when you find a 1973 Washington quarter in mint condition, think sharp details, no scratches or wear, and an original luster, it's a completely different story. Coins graded MS-65 and above by professional grading services are rare and sought after. When you combine this mint condition with any of the mint errors I just described, the coin's value can skyrocket. Additionally, some 1973 Washington quarters were produced as proof coins, which were specially struck with polished dies and intended only for collectors. Proof coins have a mirror-like finish and often show more intricate details. These proof quarters are usually more valuable than circulation strikes, especially if they carry any mint errors or are in pristine condition. Collectors love the 1973 quarter because it represents a slice of American history and coinage before the major design changes of later years. And with all these potential mint errors, condition rarities, and special proofs, it's a coin that combines history, artistry, and a bit of luck. So, what does this mean in terms of value? While most 1973 quarters will only be worth their face value or slightly more, the rare mint state quarters with notable errors have attracted serious collector interest and high bids. Recently, some of the rarest and most flawless examples with prominent errors have been appraised at an incredible amount, $81,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $81,000 for a single 1973 Washington quarter. This extraordinary value proves how coins that were once everyday currency can become priceless collectors' treasures over time, especially when rarity, error, and condition align perfectly. If you happen to have one of these quarters in your collection, or if you come across one that looks unusual, I urge you to examine it carefully. Look closely at the date and lettering for doubling, check if the design is centered properly, and inspect for any raised lines or cracks. If you spot anything unique, get it professionally graded and authenticated. It could be worth far more than you ever expected. Top 4. We're focusing on a coin that might seem familiar but holds some surprising secrets, the 1986 United States Washington quarter dollar. This particular quarter, minted over 3 decades ago, has some rare features and errors that can turn what seems like an everyday coin into a priceless treasure. So, if you love coins or you're just curious about what makes certain quarters valuable, listen carefully and enjoy this deep dive into the 1986 Washington quarter. First off, let's set the stage with some background about the Washington quarter itself. This quarter dollar has been a symbol of American currency since 1932, honoring George Washington's 200th birthday. Over the years, it's become one of the most common coins in circulation, but that doesn't mean every Washington quarter is ordinary. In fact, within the millions minted each year, there are rare additions and errors that make certain coins stand out, and the 1986 quarter is no exception. The 1986 Washington quarter was minted during a period of steady production at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, as well as the San Francisco mint for proof coins. On the obverse, you have the classic profile of George Washington, facing left, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 1986. The reverse features the iconic eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace. While it might look typical at first glance, this quarter hides some fascinating details for collectors, especially when it comes to errors and minting anomalies. Now, here's where it gets exciting. One of the reasons the 1986 Washington quarter is sought after by collectors is because of some rare mint errors that can dramatically increase its value. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin's production, making the coin unique and much more desirable. Let's go over some of the most notable errors you should look for on the 1986 quarter. the first and one of the most visually striking errors is the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once with the die slightly misaligned, causing parts of the design or lettering to appear doubled or shadowed. For the 1986 quarter, double die errors often appear on the date, the word Liberty, or even on the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Imagine seeing the year 1986 or the word Liberty with a clear doubling effect. It's like a mini optical illusion right on the coin's surface. These double die quarters are rare, and when found in excellent condition, they become prized collector's items. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This error happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly centered when it's struck, leading to a quarter that has part of its design cut off and a blank area exposed. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Some off-center strikes on the 1986 quarter show the eagle or George Washington's profile partially missing, which makes for a dramatic and eye-catching error coin. Collectors love these because no two off-center strikes are exactly the same, giving each coin a unique personality. Die cracks and die breaks also make the 1986 quarter special. These are small raised lines or irregularities on the coin's surface caused by cracks in the die used to strike the coin. While these might look like imperfections, collectors value them as unique characteristics that make the coin one of a kind. Some 1986 quarters show subtle or even prominent die cracks that add to their appeal and rarity. Proof coins from 1986 are another exciting area for collectors. Proof coins are struck using specially polished dies and planchets, resulting in coins with mirror-like finishes and sharp details. These coins were made primarily for collectors, and while many were produced, proof coins with errors or exceptionally high grades are much rarer. If you happen to own or find a 1986 proof quarter with mint errors or in flawless condition, you could have a valuable piece on your hands. Condition plays a huge role in the value of any coin, and the 1986 Washington quarter is no different. Most quarters you find in circulation show signs of wear, scratches, and loss of detail, which lowers their value to near face value. However, coins that have been preserved in uncirculated condition with their original luster intact, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services, are much rarer and more sought after. When combined with any of the mint errors mentioned earlier, these pristine quarters can fetch impressive sums. The thrill of collecting quarters like the 1986 Washington quarter lies in the hunt, examining coins under magnification, spotting tiny irregularities, and discovering rare errors that tell a story about the minting process. It's a perfect blend of history, art, and detective work. Now, let's talk about the value. While most 1986 quarters in circulated condition will only be worth their face value or a little above, rare error coins in mint condition have been known to command extraordinary prices. Some of the finest, most exceptional error coins from this year have been appraised at an astonishing figure, $79,000 United States dollars. Yes, you heard that right, $79,000 for a single 1986 Washington quarter. This incredible valuation showcases how a coin that was once everyday change can become a highly coveted treasure when rarity, error, and condition come together perfectly. If you have a 1986 Washington quarter, or if you find one in your collection, take a closer look. Examine the date and lettering for any doubling, check if the design is centered, and look for any cracks or unusual marks. If you spot something that seems unusual, consider having the coin professionally graded and authenticated. It might just be worth far more than you expect. Top 5. We're taking a closer look at a coin that might seem like a common part of everyday change but hides a world of intrigue and value, the 1990 United States Washington quarter dollar. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the hidden gems in your pocket change, this video will give you an exciting glimpse into what makes this particular quarter special and potentially worth a fortune. So, listen closely, because this coin story is one every collector should know, and you won't want to miss the jaw-dropping price reveal at the end. The Washington quarter has been a beloved staple of U.S. currency since it was first introduced in 1932, commemorating the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the decades, the design has remained largely consistent on the obverse, featuring Washington's profile, while the reverse has seen a few updates. The 1990 quarter is part of that classic era before the State Quarter series began in 1999, and millions were produced and circulated widely. But despite its common presence, certain 1990 quarters are anything but ordinary. So, what sets this coin apart? Why should collectors pay attention to the 1990 Washington quarter? The answer lies in its rarity, mint errors, and condition, three key factors that can transform a simple quarter into a highly valuable collector's item. Let's begin with mint errors. Errors occur during the coin manufacturing process, and while mints strive for perfection, mistakes happen. These mistakes create unique coins that are one of a kind, and collectors love them. The 1990 Washington quarter is no exception, with some notable errors that have made a huge impact on its desirability and value. One of the most sought-after errors in this coin is the infamous double die error. Double die coins are created when the coin die, which stamps the design, accidentally strikes the coin twice in slightly different positions. This results in a visible doubling of certain design elements, especially on the obverse side where you might see the date or letters such as Liberty and In God We Trust appearing thicker or with shadow-like duplicates. The double die effect is stunning and unmistakable, and finding one of these 1990 quarters with such an error instantly makes it a rare and prized piece. Another fascinating error that collectors seek is the off-center strike. This error happens when the blank metal planchet isn't perfectly centered during the strike, causing part of the coin's design to be cut off and exposing a blank area of metal. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Off-center errors on the 1990 quarter vary widely, with some showing just a slight misalignment, while others are so off-center that large portions of Washington's portrait or the eagle on the reverse are missing. These kinds of errors make the coin visually striking and incredibly collectible. Then there are die cracks and die breaks, which occur when the metal die used to strike the coin develops small fractures over time. These cracks show up as raised lines or streaks on the coin's surface and can create interesting and unique patterns. While they might seem like imperfections, many collectors find them fascinating because they represent a piece of the coin's manufacturing history. Some 1990 quarters have prominent die cracks, making them sought after by error coin collectors. Beyond errors, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value. Most quarters you find in circulation will have signs of wear, scratches, dull surfaces, and worn details, which diminishes their value to roughly face value. However, when you discover a 1990 Washington quarter in uncirculated or mint state condition, the value skyrockets. Coins graded by professional services as MS 65 or higher with original luster intact are rare finds and highly prized. Imagine a quarter that looks as crisp and fresh as the day it left the mint, with every detail sharp and clear. That kind of condition is a game changer for collectors. The combination of a mint error and a high-grade condition makes the 1990 Washington quarter a powerful collector's coin. It's the rarity of the error plus the quality of the coin that creates incredible value. Now, some of you might be wondering about the actual worth of this coin. Most people assume a quarter is just a quarter, but here's where things get really exciting. Over the years, several of these rare 1990 quarters with notable errors have surfaced in auctions and private sales, attracting serious bids from collectors who recognize their value. Some of the highest graded and rare error specimens have been appraised at an astonishing amount, $75,000 US. Yes, you heard that correctly. $75,000 for a single 1990 Washington quarter. This incredible valuation shows just how much a simple piece of currency can transform into a treasure when rarity, error, and condition come together perfectly. So, what should you do if you think you might have one of these rare 1990 quarters? The first step is to examine your coin carefully. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to look for any doubling in the date or letters, check if the design appears centered or off-center, and inspect for any unusual raised lines or cracks. If anything stands out, consider sending your coin to a professional grading service to get it authenticated and graded. That certification can make all the difference in unlocking its true value. For those of you who collect coins or are simply fascinated by these tiny pieces of history, the 1990 Washington quarter is a perfect example of how everyday coins can hold extraordinary stories and worth. It reminds us that with a keen eye and a little bit of knowledge, anyone can stumble upon a hidden treasure. Thanks for watching this detailed exploration of the 1990 United States Washington quarter dollar. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep uncovering the secrets of rare coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any future coin discoveries. Until next time, keep your collection safe, stay curious, and happy coin hunting. Ask ChatGPT.